Simon returned to the share with a victory in the homecoming game against Barrow Raiders on Sunday. When you've looked back at the game, obviously it was a tough start to the game, but are you pleased with the way that the side came through it?
Yeah, obviously we got the 2 points, which is the important bit. Start was poor, much like the week before, which that was pretty disappointing. I did expect a reaction from that starting middle, to be honest. I thought before Samet was a bit of well, it's obviously a big thing when someone gets a red card. That would have made the game a lot harder in the second half, obviously. But I thought at that point, leading up to that point, we'd started to switch on, if you like, started turning the tide. Giving him a 16-point head start was pretty poor, to be fair. So yeah, we're on our way to fixing that, I think. But then obviously Samet goes off and it kind of changes the whole game really for Barrow after that, and how we go about it as well. So some lessons learned, as there is in all of them. There's sometimes more in defeat than there is wins. So, but the obvious one and repetitive one is one of the bad start. We need to get on top of that. It just puts you in a bad cycle. Louis put a good kick in at the corner. We practiced them, and it just happens to be half a metre too long. And a really smart player from Samet, which just set us off on the wrong foot, really. Yeah, so disappointing, but yeah, we'll move on to the next one now.
Yeah, it seems strange to say disappointing after a win, but like you say, we move on to the next one. But another slow start in that game against Barrow. You'd have wanted a reaction after a slow start against Bradford. There was a slow start against Toulouse. What can you do differently to try and make sure that the boys hit the ground running from minute one? Is it an attitude thing? Is it a game plan thing? What can you change to make sure that we're applying ourselves as we know we can do from minute one?
Well, firstly, happy with the win. Just to finish off the last one, we're happy with the win. Yeah, there's some disappointing elements in it, but there were a lot of good stuff as well. Apart from a tearaway try from Wombat, I think his other three had to do a bit of work for, and there's some quality in there, so that was good, among other things. But yeah, the slow starts, they're very, very annoying, and it's 100% a mindset thing. It's an intent, it's a want. We're making tackles, we're not necessarily missing them, but they're coming out the other side of the tackle how they want to. So the message to the boys really is, we can tackle if you want, or we can tackle with a real purpose around it, because I think that's the big thing. Our defence getting tired, running in, reversing up the field is hard, and then when you get the ball, everyone's just a little bit rattled, and we come up with a few errors in and around that as well. And it's kind of the same story for the last few games, isn't it? Where first set of the game we get dragged in touch against Toulouse. That put us into a bad spot. Bradford, again, the physical bit, I just don't think we're at the races. And the start of this game, you can say that as well. For the first quarter of an hour, we were just chasing ourselves, trying to find a way back into the game, because we just kept getting rolled up the field, and it's not acceptable, and the lads know, and it's embarrassing. It's embarrassing on field because they know it, and then it's embarrassing when they have to look at it again. So they're all capable. These blokes tipped up against, we spoke about it a lot, the best in the world, amongst other teams this year, and done a really good job. Just the last couple, the start just hasn't been there, so it's something real doing to change this week. Yeah,
despite a slow start though, despite being 16-0 down, going in behind at the break, even before the red card, there was no worries, no danger that we wouldn't have put it right, even if they'd have stayed to 13 men.
No, I felt like I've always got confidence in this lot. I always felt like we were going to get back in the game. We just needed to get the footing, and we started getting that. But yeah, it's still annoying that we're actually having to do that, because if we start in a dominant fashion, we give ourselves a really good chance, don't we? But we just keep cracking on. It's not nothing intentional from anyone involved, and it's really frustrating for everyone. But it's something we can't repeat again. It's got to be put to bed now. We need to get it right.
We saw the bench come on and have a massive impact. Ryan Lannon, arguably, I think he said in post-match, changed the game. Putting Tom Inman back there on the bench to sort of speed things up. Do you feel like your game plan to leave Brandon Moore out and rest him sort of paid dividends in the end?
Well, your first bit, those two lads, Adam and Ryan, were both brilliant off the bench. They helped swing that tide, if you like. And yeah, Tom did a decent job. Didn't get as many minutes as probably would have liked him to get, because I was waiting for our experienced boys to get on board really, and left Adam out there and drag him around in the end as I thought he did. I thought he did quite a good job in that second quarter of the game. But yeah, Brandon, we've got 3 hookers, mate. We've got 25, 26 lads. You can only play 17. And I doubt we'll like to see three of them in the squad together, them 3 hookers. So Tom's missed a couple opportunities to get him back in, and how we wanted to play the game, I felt like it suited Tom's attributes a bit better. And also, Brandon's been doing stupid minutes, as he always does. Lots of work in every game, so as much as it's hard for him to sit on the sideline, it's hard to drop him because his effort's always outstanding and always arguably our best in terms of the effort areas of the game. So it's hard to leave him out, but we have to pick the team that's best for the job, and a rest here and there for Brandon will pay dividends, I think, later on.
Yeah, you mentioned keeping the health of the squad right. Any injuries from that game, anything to report?
Yeah, a few bumps, a few knocks that we need to check on. Nothing I'll share on camera, but yeah, there's a few bits and bobs. As I've said before, mate, we're past the halfway point now. We haven't got a huge squad. The knocks, they start coming now. This is when, you know, them repeat efforts and tough games that we've done to ourselves as well at times. We've made games a lot harder than they need to be and done far too much tackling. They end up taking the toll. So there's a few bruised bodies in there, but you know, I think everyone is hurting despite the win, and we're still searching for that reaction we've been after for a few weeks now, so hopefully it comes this weekend.
Yeah, moving on to this weekend, then hitting the road again after just one home game back at the Shea. We travel over to the LNER Community Stadium in York to face the Knights. You'll have done your homework on them. What are you expecting from them?
They're a good team. The table obviously doesn't show them in their best light. I think they're a good side. Dangers everywhere. They've got a couple of bodies back in the last couple of weeks. Hingano came back. Liam Harris came back Wednesday night. Danny Kerman's shown up. Yeah, they've had the troubles with injuries and that this year, but they play quite a good style of rugby. They're expansive. They throw the ball around. They kick really well, and they're quite disciplined in what they do in the sense that they complete high. And for us, that's an area we haven't been good at, particularly at the start of the games, as we mentioned. So yeah, we've got it all to do. We've got to put a strong and stiff defensive display in to make sure we limit their chances. Despite
the fact they'll have played 3 games in 7 days and might be down on energy at that point, we can't take anything for granted. I mean, we've spoken about attitude and the way we start games. We can't go there thinking it's a foregone conclusion because they have played those 3 games in 7 days. Do you agree?
Yeah, listen, we won't talk about that too much as a group, because if we start hoping they're tired, we're struggling already, aren't we? Yeah, the games do take the toll, that's a fact, but yeah, we won't be using that as any sort of motivation or anything. We need to get our bit of it right. They're a good side, and they're struggling as well. They'll be desperate, obviously, because of their table position. And we should be desperate because we feel like we've given some games away this year and should have a few more points on the table. So, you know, we need to match their desperation, if you like, and more, and show how much it means to us.
You'll welcome Zach McComb back from his ban. I think he's mentioned off camera that Kevin Leroy should be fit again, so there's plenty of selection headaches. Have you got an idea of if you want to change anything from the Barrow game moving into York?
Yeah, there'll be a couple of changes. Obvious reasons, didn't start the game well, so there has to be a change or two there. We've got a couple of other options available to us as well, so we'll look at it tonight. Thursday's always our night where we decide, so I can't say in any definitive way now what the changes will be, but there are a few choices to make, and they're good choices to have.
One change that would be what will definitely happen is Jake Mason dropping out from 18th man. He's joined Hunslet on a short-term 2-week loan. What was the thinking behind that move?
Well, if you speak to Jake, he'll tell you himself he's a very honest and open bloke. He's probably not given or shown us the best side of him. He's been up and down, to be fair, and his last game was a pretty average one, so since then other people have come in and gone all right, and in that time he hasn't been able to play anywhere. We don't have reserves. We are at the mercy of when we send lads to Casp what they need. Picker's got a game there last week, which was good for him to get some metres in his legs, but yeah, we've not been able to get Jake a game, so the opportunity came up to get him a couple of weeks at Hunslet, and he really needs it for his own confidence and also just to get himself game ready for us. And that's, again, you can't play them all, but you also don't want them all sat rotting in the stand, because if you do that, they're not going to be any good when you do need them. So that's the method in the madness, if you like, because small squad, it don't make too much sense letting people go, but it's a risk we have to take. Otherwise, when we do come round to using Jake again, is he going to be ready and do himself justice? I think it'd be hard pressed to do that, so I think it's right for both parties.
And finally then, how important is it that the fans get over there in numbers? We seem to say it every week they've been showing up. We had a really good win over there last year that the boys really need them to get behind the side and get over to York on Sunday and make some noise.
They've been great, haven't they? I say it every week and I can't thank them enough for the support. It's been good in an up and down season. It's easy to support when you're winning, but when you're not getting the results you'd like, it's much appreciated, but I think they can see the efforts there on the pitch. We just need to transfer the effort into points, don't we? And yeah, I'm scarred from last time we were over at York at the Bash there, so hopefully we can put in a good game and we don't all have the sulky drive back, because that was a pretty poor one, to be honest. But yeah, they've been great for us, and as I said, we really do value the support.